All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we actually got the legendary, formerly of Rap-A-Lot Records, we actually have 1/3 of the iconic Fifth Ward Boys. We got the one and only 007 right here, live on the line. How are you doing this evening?
Zoom, 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 what it do? I'm good.
I gotta say, first and foremost, 007, thank you so much in advance for just giving us a little bit of your time here this evening, man. Me personally, I've been a fan of the Fifth Ward Boys and yourself for many years, man. So thank you so much for a little bit of your time this evening.
And that's what's up. That's what's up. I'm good. Everything's good. You out there in Canada?
Out there in Canada, yeah. We're on the East Coast, right across the border from New York State.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to come out there.
I gotta say, man, it definitely is phenomenal. We would love to actually have you out here for a concert, man. We don't get a lot of hip hop, unfortunately. Like, we get obviously like the Drake, Snoop Dogg, but we don't get like the Southern hip hop artists down here, man. It's actually kind of tragic.
Yeah, we need to get that pop.
But Double O, I know you're a really busy individual, man, so I'm going to dive right into this interview, but I got to take you back to the beginning of your iconic career this far, and I have to ask, what originally made you decide to pick up a microphone and get into music, man? Because, you know, you have such an amazing history within hip-hop, man, that's going to live on forever.
Well, to be honest with you, the start was really, well, the first time I ever heard hip-hop, I fell in love with it. So my uncle, he had a Brothers Johnson album and a Rapper's Delight album. And so he let me hear that Rapper's Delight, that hip-hop, hippie to the hippie to hip-hop. And it was like in 81, something like that, 1981. And when I heard it, I was blown away. And so then I did my own searching. Funky 4 Plus One More, Cool G Rap, and all these Sonny Chibas, and you know those guys out of New York. I started listening to those guys, and I was like blown away. But once I seen Crush Groove, the movie Crush Groove, and I seen Run, I said that's what I want to do.
You can definitely not go wrong with Crush Groove, man. An iconic movie.
Oh, yeah, that's one of my favorites, if not my favorites after Roots.
And also, as we already know, you are 1/3 of the iconic hip-hop trio, Fifth Ward Boys. But for the listeners that might not know this history about you, what actually made you guys decide to come together? And, of course, how did you guys originally meet?
Well, we were in school together, so we're from different parts of Fifth Ward. But we all went to Wheatley High School, which is, you know, we all from different parts. And so we knew each other from that. And so me and E-Rock, we used to hang every day. Eric, we used to hang every day. But Richard, he ended up transferring to another school. But him and Rock, like his relationship he had with Rock because he stayed closer to him in Fifth Ward. I knew Rock from school. So we rapped, but we didn't have a group. So we all three individually rapped. And so one day, you know, I went to the Galleria. We call it a mall out here called Galleria. And I did a little tape where you rap over somebody else's beat. And you just rap on it, and they give you the tape for $10. So I took the tape to this girl that I liked at this beauty shop. And she said, well, I really don't know about rap, but Lil J, he right next door. So I went next door and seen about 30 dudes in a spot looking mean and all that. I'm 17 years old, you know, and I'm like, hey, man, can y'all hear my rhyme, you know? And they listen to my rhyme. They say, yeah, the rhyme is all right, but we really like the beat. Who did the beat? I lied to him because the beat came off a DJ Quick album. But I told him my homeboy did the beat. And they was like, yeah, bring your homeboy up here tomorrow. So I was like, okay. So I came back the next day still by myself, and I rapped a cappella. And they was like, oh, yeah, we like that. And they had forgot all about the beat guy then. So they was like, come up here tomorrow and rap for this guy. I was like, okay. So I told E-Rock, I said, hey, man, come on up here and rap with me. I know we ain't got no songs together, but I think they'll put us down. You know, we rap a lot. And he was like, oh, okay. So he met up with he met up with Lowlight, and he told Lowlight the same thing, come on up there. So all three of us rapped for Jay, and one day he heard us rap. The first day he had his rap, he said, do y'all want to open for the Ghetto Boys in 2 days? We was like, yeah. So that's how we all got on. But we wasn't called the Fifth Ward Boys at that time. We really didn't have a name. We was really the Fifth Ward Circle, you know. But then they came up with a name. They said, man, y'all should be Fifth Ward Boys. And we were like, man, no, it's too many boys, man. You got the skinny boys, the fat boys, the ghetto boys. You got the white boys. You got all these boys, the L.A. boys. Man, we don't want to be no boys. And they was like, now look, y'all going to be called Fifth Ward Boys, not the Fifth Ward Boys. Y'all going to represent the whole Fifth Ward. So whenever you see Fifth Ward Boys, you don't see the with it. You see Fifth Ward Boys. And that's how we became Fifth Ward Boys.
And I really like what you guys did as well. You guys wanted to be authentic rather than jumping on the Boyz train. You know what I mean? Because just like today, they got all the littles and all back.
Yeah.
It's crazy how everyone's called little something.
Put a little in front of your name, you're all right.
But I like that about you guys. You guys always tried your best to be authentic as humanly possible, man. And that's how you stand out. A lot of people, they think that if you actually jump on the train, you'll get noticed. But sometimes you got to be standing outside the train and be the only one there to really get noticed.
That's what's up. What's up.
But also as well, you guys also recorded for Dewey Forker's Underground Records. I was wondering, how did you guys originally get connected with Dewey? And of course, what was it like just actually being signed to his label at the beginning stages of your guys' career?
Well, to be honest, we really wasn't on Dewey's label. Even though it was Underground Records was getting formed, that's who we met first. We met Dewey first, and then he introduced us to Jay. It was like that. So we signed to Rap A Lot, and the rest of the guys, like the Juveniles, the Slims, and all them, they signed to Underground. We just did Underground management. Really, we was always signed to Rap A Lot Virgin or Rap A Lot Priority, stuff like that. But Dewey, you know, to be honest with you, is like I met Dewey one day, and I'm telling you, like 2 days later, I was driving his Benz. That's how much confidence in my rhyme that he had. He was like giving me the keys to the Benz and let me roll. You know, I'm a 17-year-old kid, you know, in the streets.
I gotta say that definitely is some massive trust that he had in you, man. You know, driving the Benz at 17.
For real.
But also as well, man, your guys' debut album actually was released May 18th of 1993, titled Ghetto Dope. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about your guys' phenomenal debut album. And of course, what was it like just being in the studio putting that particular project together?
Well, it took a lot. It took a lot for that album because what we did, we never went in the studio and like did one song or, you know, 2 songs. We wrote all our songs at a record shop, at Dewey's record shop. And so we wanted to get it together before we go in the studio. So we kind of did the album in like a week. We had all the rhymes wrote and everything, but the thing about it, we only had one studio. Rap A Lot only had one studio, so you had the Convicts, you had Devin the Dude, you had the All Squad, you had everybody rapping on Rap A Lot rapped out that one studio. So what that can tell you that it wasn't much time. You had to, you know, do your thing really and not be a real rapper in there because you got Scarface that want to do something. You got Bill want to do something. You got Big Mello, 3-2, Big Mike. It's all these guys. So you're really like fighting for a position to rhyme, you know. So Dude started doing us tracks. Beto started doing us tracks. You know, Joe started doing us tracks. And Mike Dean was not a beat maker at that time. He was just like a lick player. He used to play like small piano or a little guitar. He wasn't a real beat maker. But what we did with Ghetto Dope. We told Mike if he wanted to test out doing tracks, he could do a track on our album. So that's how you see Mike Dean now, because he did his first track on Ghetto Dope. But now he's, you know, doing stuff for Jay-Z, Kanye, everybody, you know.
And the one song that I personally love the most off this project is actually Thanks for the Blessing, where you guys actually teamed up with Bushwick Bill and Devin the Dude. I do know you guys were obviously all signed to Rap-A-Lot Records, but just for that particular song, what was it like just working alongside Bushwick and Devin the Dude? Because you guys had such phenomenal chemistry on that joint.
Yeah, it was cool, man. You know, because, like I'm saying, we all had one studio, so we all used to be there. You know, everybody used to be there. You know, we call it working out, like you're working out in a gym. We call it working out in the studio. So we all bounced around ideas, but we always had a song in the back of our head saying, because we really was thanking God for the blessing of us getting out the streets and escaping death and, you know, the perils of Fifth Ward. So that's really what we were doing. We were saying thanks for the blessing to God and blessing from Jay, Dewey, all those guys, you know. And so with Devin, we came at the same time. Our squad of Fifth Ward boys, we kind of came at the same time to rap a lot. It's just you didn't hear them first because it took them a while to do their album. But Devin was always with us. He was always around. And if you really see it, Devin is on every one of our albums, every Fifth Ward boy album.
And also as well, I know I'm jumping ahead in the timeline here a little bit, but on November 18th of 1997, you guys actually released my personal favorite Fifth Ward album titled Usual Suspects. I was wondering, could you tell us the story behind this legendary album? And of course, what was the inspiration behind it? Because me personally, that album was always my absolute favorite from you guys.
You know, Usual Suspects was funny. It was like, Fifth Ward boys, we kind of, it kind of messed us up too, you know, because what it did was give us a different dynamic of rap and that we wasn't used to. We went to L.A. We did that album at Enterprise in L.A. So that album has PWA on it. It's a song that's, you know, is real raunchy. It's, you know, women love it or whatever, but that was our problem. It was like every album we did, from Ghetto Dope to Rated G to Gangsta Funk, whatever, it was all hardcore. So us putting that one song on the album, it kind of changed our audience also, because now it's women up front waiting on that song. So it was like you're doing all this hard stuff, so we had to kind of adjust. It took a big adjustment when Usual Suspects came around. And Usual Suspects, one day we was watching the movie, Usual Suspects, and we were like, that's kind of us, because we're always blamed for stuff. We was blamed for jumping on Eazy-E. We was blamed for so much stuff in the town. So we was like, we're the Usual Suspects. But we got that from that movie, Usual Suspects.
And I gotta say as well, my favorite joint off that record will always be Live Your Life featuring Tasha, man. I don't know, to me personally, just the meaning behind that song is just so strong.
Yeah, man, that's a deep song, man, that Live Your Life. You know, Mama used to say we got that, we cleared the sample from Junior, and Tasha, that's the girl that says, it's the thuggish ruggish bone. It's the thuggish ruggish bone. She sings that also. And so we was in the studio and we was like, let's do it, you know, because Bone, we've been cool with Bone so long, you know, those been our little cats, you know what I'm saying, from Cleveland, you know.
And I gotta say, I think I can speak for a lot of the Fifth Ward Boy fans, man. Just this the fact that Live Your Life definitely helped me get through a lot of difficult times, man. And I do know that it helped tons of other listeners as well.
Oh yeah, man. That's a deep one there, man. That's a deep one. I enjoy making songs on albums that really make sense. I don't like too much shoot 'em up, bang bang, but the realism of we was really doing that stuff. So that's what we was rapping about. But we did want those songs that were meaningful and that made sense. That you know, told a message in some type of way. Even on like Thanks for the Blessing. You had a song called Mama's Praying. We had situations. We had songs that were meaningful, you know, and Live Your Life was just one of those songs that came out of that.
And also, as well, in the year 2002, you guys were actually featured on Daz Dillinger's album titled I Got Love in These Streets on the song I'ma Get Mine. Anyway, I was wondering, from what you can recall, what was it like just actually teaming up with West Coast hip-hop artist and producer and just working alongside him?
Oh, well, you know, we've been knowing Daz for years. It's like West Coast rappers, we were more with them a lot because they toured down here, we toured up there, and our record company was in Beverly Hills. And so when we would go up there, we would always hang with Daz and Corrupt, Snoop, and all those cats. But you got to understand, we've always had a relationship with West Coast rappers, E40, Be Legit, cats like that, you know, that we still talk. I still talk to Be Legit. I still talk to all the West Coast rappers right now. Like Spice One, he comes to Houston all the time, you know. And Daz, he was always a good track maker, you know, back in those days. And we loved him, you know, he was a cool dude. So we always have a good bond like that, you know. So Daz is a real dude, man.
And I always say, in my personal opinion, when it comes to Daz Dillinger, excuse me, that he was always one of the most underrated producers, in my personal opinion, man. He's done so much phenomenal production work and doesn't get a lot of credit that I think he really deserves.
Yeah, I mean, from Machiavelli to some of the Tupac stuff, yeah, he was doing it. He's been doing it, man, and he's got some good credits that people really don't even know about. Cause now we in the days that people don't really even look at credits for some reason. You know, back in the days we used to like to have a CD open, and we used to open it up to see who did the beats, who the thank yous and all that stuff. But now we're in this digital age, you don't get to see all that. And so Daz, he is an underrated, but I think it was more like a reverse Havoc. You know, Havoc with Mobb Deep, you know, more people knew him for his beats even though he rapped. But I think Daz rapped so good that it overshadowed his beats.
And also, as well, April 20th of 2010, you actually released the the album titled Audio Future that is actually a Christian hip-hop album. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about that release. And, of course, what actually made you decide to transition into gospel hip-hop?
Well, the thing is, I went to prison, and I did 5 years in prison. And so I changed my life in prison. And when I came home, you know, I went to biblical school. I opened up me a bookstore, a Christian bookstore and everything. So I stopped rapping, and I was like, well, you know, the rapping got me in jail. I'm sick of rapping. That's it. So my wife one day, she was like, well, why don't you do it for God, you know? And I was like, man, rapping for God, that's corny, man. Every Christian rapper I done heard is corny, you know. And so I heard Lecrae one day, and I heard these dudes with Lecrae, and I was like, man, they hard. I said, now that's the kind of rhyme I can do, you know, because I can't rap that I don't do. You know, I rap how I live now. I got kids. I own my own home. I'm just living life, and it's good now. I pay taxes. So I'm a good guy now, you know. So I talk about what I live, you know.
And I gotta say as well, it definitely was a phenomenal album. Because me personally, I do love the hardcore hip hop, but sometimes just sitting back and listening to some inspirational hip hop is amazing as well. And I gotta say, Audio Future is definitely a phenomenal project. If you don't mind me asking, where can our listeners actually buy or stream themselves a copy? Because me personally, I got the disc version, but I know a lot of the new generation, they're all up on the streaming. Is it actually available to be streamed today on the internet?
Right, not right now, because I'm doing the album right now. I'm putting together one right now, and I'm gonna when I put that one out, I'm gonna release Audio Feature again, and so it's gonna be re-released. But I've done a lot of other things with a group called Raw. That's RAW. I've been doing it with a guy named Gifted the Flamethrower, and so we got an album called Raw America. We got an album called The City Never Sleeps. We got an album called The Raw Report that you can look at on iTunes and you can get it wherever, iTunes or Amazon, wherever you download music or stream music, it's on there. It's RAW, Raw.
And also as well, that album was actually released on Much Love Records, actually based out of Houston, where they actually released projects from like a former label mate of yours as well, Bushwick Bill, Trey 9, and others.
Right.
And from my understanding, was your album Audio Future, was that the very first gospel hip hop album they actually released on that label, or is Much Love all gospel?
Yeah, they always release the gospel. It was just one day Trey called me and was intrigued about putting me out doing something with the people out of Nashville, which was they were distributing it. And so we were like, well, let's do it. He was like, he always listened to me when he was younger, and he was glad that I came over to the fold, and he was like, he wanted to be a part of it. So that's what we did. We put it out like that.
And also, as well, aside from the music industry, you are also the founder of the organization called Josiah's House that actually helps ex-offenders get back on their feet.
Right.
I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about this phenomenal organization. And, of course, how can we as fans and listeners of the one and only 007 get more involved?
Okay. Well, like I told you, I did 5 years in prison. So when I came home, I was doing little stuff, but it was actually Trey 9 that got me involved in ministry in jails and stuff like that in prisons. And so now I do, a lot of prisons. I go around the country to different prisons and talk to the brothers. But what I was seeing was a recidivism rate that was going back. People was going back because they had no, footage out here. So what we do at Josiah's House, we give people the tools that they need in a tangible way, not just saying, hey, man, I pray for you or stuff like that. We want to actually get clothes for guys. We want to get job interviews for guys, rides. We want to just make sure everything goes right once they come home, And so we go into prison and we kind of like, get them ready as they coming out, what to do when they come out. And we lead them into a great transition, facility, and everything's good like that. And so you can just look it up, Josiah'sHouseMinistries.com, and look at what we be doing. It's a lot, man. And you can even look at me on Instagram and see some of the things that I do on Instagram, which is Fifth Ward Boy 007.
And I saw as well that you actually did some speakings at some local prisons as well. And if you don't mind me asking, so far since Josiah's House has actually been in session, if you don't mind me asking, how many inmates have you guys actually helped so far?
Oh, hundreds. I mean, hundreds since even before Josiah's House. We just got the 5013C with Josiah's House, but even before Josiah's House, which was established like 2 years ago, before COVID. Now, COVID knocked us out a little bit, but we got right back on the train. We right back in it. But we were doing hundreds even before that. I mean, I hooked up with another ministry called Charm Ministry, and what they do is they go into the prisons as well, and so I go with them, and we have 7. They call them halfway houses, but they're really transitional homes. So they come out of jail, they come into those transitional homes. We find them jobs. We just build them back up until they can get out there and fly themselves.
And also, as well, I actually saw via Instagram that this summer, in July of 2022, you're going to be on the road all month long for the True Story Tour. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners
Yeah.
a bit more about that. And of course, how can we go about purchasing some tickets to come out and see the one and only 007 live in full effect this summer?
Man, it's crazy, man. I did a True Story tour like 4 years ago, and man, it was phenomenal. We went all over Texas, but now it's gonna be like in some cities outside of Texas, and a few in Texas, but they're gonna be outside Michigan, Gary, I think, a lot of those places like that. But yeah, what I'm gonna be doing, I'm gonna be putting it online, and you can know where I'm at. You'll know the city I'm in. Just look at Fifth Ward Boy 007 on IG, and you can find all my information.
And I saw as well that you're actually going to be hitting New Mexico, which is absolutely phenomenal. Because from my understanding, I don't know a lot of the geography when it comes to the United States, but I do believe New Mexico is pretty far away from Texas, from my understanding.
Yeah, it's some guy, but we got some field guys down there. We got one guy. He was living in New Mexico. His name is Five, and he was doing a lot of groundwork down there. So they got a lot of hip hop heads out there, because that's really who we go for. We going for just straight hip hop heads, not Christians, because Christians just do what they do. We trying to give it to the guys that like hip hop anyway. You know what I'm saying?
And also, as well, I have to ask, what is next for yourself, 007? Is there anything we happen to miss during tonight's interview? Anything else you do still want to talk about or promote? Well, we still got you here live on 97.7 FM this evening.
Man, thank you for having me. I just want to tell everybody to check me out on Fifth Ward Boy 007 on IG, and you'll get a lot of information. I'm doing an album right now as we speak, and it's going to come out, and it's going to be my last album till I go and do what I want to do, for the transitional houses and stuff like that. So, but I want to put one more effort in and put it out, and then I'm gonna re-release Audio Future, and then that's gonna be it. But I'm gonna keep you abreast of when it comes, and I'm gonna send it to you for sure.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, with you just saying, that's gonna be your final album for now and whatnot, I just gotta say, man, if that is indeed the final 007 completely, I just want to say, man, thank you for years of monumental music, not even with the Fifth Ward Boys, but also solo work as well, man. One of my favorite Southern MCs, man. So truthfully, thank you for everything you've done and your contribution to hip hop.
Hey man, thank you for listening. It's kind of crazy because when I was younger, I used to write rhymes at my house and, in my bed and stuff like that. And a quick little story, I was in Minnesota one day, and so Scarface was like, hey, man, this Tupac, he want to meet y'all. And I was like, what's up? This Tupac, huh? He was like, yeah, what's up? And he started rapping one of my songs. And so it wasn't that he was Tupac that I was excited he was rapping my song. It was just that anybody that knew my song that wasn't, in my city or in my house, I was just excited about it. But by Tupac rapping my lyrics, it was like big for me.
I gotta say, a definite. If you don't mind me asking, what year criteria was that? Because I do know that he was really big around he got really big in 95, 96.
Yeah, that was like in 94, like the end of 94. So it was the first album, matter of fact. So he knew some of the first album lyrics on there. And so it was kind of crazy. Even one day I was in a place in New York. I was somewhere at a record store in New York, and a guy busted in and he said, man, where's 007? And dude pointed me out, and I was like, hey, don't do that. Because the dude looked kind of raunchy, you know. And the dude just said, man, I just want to tell you I like your rhymes, man. And I was like, golly, I ain't, you know, I'm way in New York, you know.
And if you don't mind me asking, was that just a fan of yours, or was that actually a fellow New York hip hop artist?
No, it was just a fan. And he looked like he was straight off the bus, you know, ready to shake somebody, you know. And he came in there like real rough, not like docile. He came in rough, like, where's 007? And I was like, man, who is this dude? And I didn't say nothing. It was a guy that was with us. He kind of pointed me out. Oh, there he is, you know. And I was like, God, dog, why point me out? But the guy did say, man, I just like your rhymes, man. I was like, oh, all right, cool.
And I gotta say, you know, to the New York fans that are listening, you know, no offense, but when it comes to New York, they kind of have that like accent and that attitude. You know what I mean? It kind of sounds hostile, but you never know, man. They're showing love, or it could be throwing down.
Yeah, they come off a little rough. You know what I'm saying? I got some partners out there right now. You know what I'm saying? New Jersey, Edgewater. You know, my partners out there in Edgewater.
But I gotta be honest though, I can definitely see why they're a little bit, you know, edgy and whatnot. Because New York is definitely a rough city. You know what I mean? It's not for the faint of heart. So I can tell why they actually have that, you know, that just that raunchy attitude.
Oh yeah. You gotta have your head on a swivel.
But 007, this is the time in the interview quickly that I just give a chance for the individual that does slide into the radio station airwaves, just a chance to drop their social media handles. I know you already dropped your Instagram, but if you don't mind me asking, man, if you can, drop all the social media handles that you do use. That way our listeners can follow you all across the board.
Cool. Okay, on Twitter, it says 007 I am 5th Ward. You know, 007 I am 5th Ward on Twitter. On Facebook, I'm just 00 and then 7, and the O is a real O, not a 0. It's an O. So 00 and then 7, and then in Instagram, 5th Ward Boy 007.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, 00, thank you so much again for just giving us a bit of your time, man. Like I said, one of my favorite Southern MCs to ever do it, man. So for that, thank you so much for your time, man, and I'm definitely looking forward to this final 007 album, and I already know you're going to melt our eardrums.
Hey, that's what's up, man. It means a lot, man. I need to come up there to Canada, man.
I got to say, we definitely got to get you out here, man, you know. I don't think Canada's ready for that Southern hip-hop, man, but I'm going to keep playing the music, man, down here in Canada, and hopefully they'll be ready when you actually arrive through the border.
That's what's up. Hey, hit me with your email. I'm going to have something for you.
Hey, most definitely. I'll shoot you that the moment we get off the air. Thank you so much, 00, and definitely have yourself a wonderful night.
That's what's up. One.